Hey, deserving listeners, Darcy and Stacey, season 4. Why did I say it like that? I don't know. Let's watch.
Before, and hopefully with Michelle's help, I can attract a different type of guy this time around.
This is what's called a wing woman session.
Okay.
So what happens during the wing woman session, I want to see how you approach men and flirt with them.
Okay.
During this wing woman session, Darcy and I are going to be able to look for attractive men. I want her to focus on practicing having a conversation and making a connection.
Okay, so I think what the matchmaker is saying is they're going to approach men on this sidewalk, this random public sidewalk, which I would not recommend. You could really bother people with that. Like if I were walking down that sidewalk and suddenly someone was just coming at me trying to start a conversation, and I mean, it's just like, why? Does this look like, am I in some weird meat market right now? Like there are venues that people go to where they are more likely to be wanting to talk. And of course you reverse the genders, it's an even bigger problem, right? So anyway, I don't know. It's just my opinion. But it is something that I've seen people do. Essentially what it is it's experimenting, and it's also observing. So the matchmaker gets a chance to observe her in the wild and gets to critique her or help her along those lines, hopefully give positive feedback as well. It's like, oh, that's great that you did that. You know, maybe do more of that kind of thing. It also will desensitize the client to something that might have undue fear associated with it. I had a client once who was actually involved with a pickup artist community. This would have been 15 years ago. And he went to the pickup artist community, which I'll say, just my anecdotal experience, the pickup artist community, similar to the incel and the MGTOW, the red pill, these kinds of people, the pickup artist community, for the most part, is a toxic cult that is harmful to its members. Is it harmful all the time? No, probably not. But there are much better ways at getting at what the pickup artist community and incels, all these people are trying to do for their indoctrinees. But there was one thing that was actually good that the pickup artist community did for this individual, for my client, was that my client had a lot of social anxiety. He wanted to date, and he was having a hard time, and felt very awkward. You know, he was just kind of the classic person in Seattle that just is really shy and has never thought about how he presents himself, doesn't have experience, and is terrified. And so what the person in the pickup artist community did, or maybe they just connected him with somebody. Anyway, he hired a coach. It was a professional who helps men learn, or people learn, how to overcome issues that are a barrier to them dating people and meeting the one, right? Or just even casually dating, I suppose. And so one of the things that they did with him is, on multiple occasions, there were sessions where they took him, my client, to places in public and instructed him to walk up to strangers and people that he might think were attractive and just start a conversation or say something nice, just anything. And now, I'll say that when you subject people in public, they don't agree to be a part of this experiment or a part of this exercise. So you have to consider the ethics of subjecting random people in the public to your client, right? In the best of worlds, you would have people that would agree to be a part of that. You know, maybe even you get 30 people in a room, they're all working on the same thing, and they just approach each other. You know, they all sign a waiver saying, I know what I'm getting into, that kind of thing. But anyway, the benefit to my client that he reported to me, which makes total sense because it is a therapeutic technique of exposure therapy to habituate your nervous system to something that you have unreasonable fear about, that to walk up to someone and ask them, hey, what's going on, you know, to hit on them, I suppose, then there's a lot of fear that people have that is unreasonable. They'll have fears of like, well, but what if she rejects me? Then what? And it's like, well, then what? Who cares? I mean, if that's what you're going to operate under, is like, what if I get rejected, therefore I don't approach anyone, then you'll never get your needs met. So you have to realize that when someone does reject you, like your worst case scenario in your mind, someone even literally just points and laughs at you for coming up to them and talking to them, that it doesn't really matter. It doesn't feel great in the moment, but it's not life ending. It's not life or death. It's not great, but you'll live, and you'll live to fight another day, so to speak. And so my client was taken around in public. From my memory, he went to clubs where it was understood that people might approach you. People don't go to a dance club expecting that no one will approach them. Could it still be bothersome for people to approach you? Sure. But there's not a reasonable expectation that someone, if they found you attractive, wouldn't come up and just try to start a conversation with you. You know what I mean? Whereas when you're walking on your morning walk after having a cup of coffee, I think there is a reasonable expectation that someone's not going to just randomly come up to you, especially if you're an attractive woman, because you get approached constantly anyway, and heckled, and what do they call it? Called. What are they? Some sort of term. Anyway, so catcalled, right? Yeah, why do they call it catcall? It's this terrible phrase. So you'd want to think about that. Now, what Darcy's going to be doing presumably is walking up to men who are not usually repetitive victims of this kind of objectification. So that is something to think about. So that's what the matchmaker is doing with Darcy. Is that really Darcy's problem? I don't think Darcy has a problem with shyness walking up to people, or at least that hasn't been exhibited. I suspect that this was just shoehorned into the show because it would be interesting material.
I'm going to have the opportunity to learn more about her, have the opportunity to see how she flirts, and also assess how it is that men react to her as well.
Yeah, I would recommend this be done in a venue that makes more sense, like a speed dating situation would make more sense, or a place where the men know that there's a chance that this is going to happen. Because chances are, Darcy's going to, if she finds a guy that she finds attractive and walks up to him, chances are the guy's already in a relationship, right? Or might not even have your sexual orientation. So it's not conducive to really getting data around how these things typically will work out. Plus, that's not what Darcy does. She doesn't randomly walk up to people and hit on them trying to get a date. She dates people online, or I think there's a lot of Instagramming, like DMing, right? Like liking someone's picture and da-da-da. At least that's from my memory how she's met a lot of people. So if you really want to find out how Darcy behaves in the wild, you would actually say, get out your phone and flirt with someone on Instagram and let me watch how that works out. And then if they ended up talking on the phone, you'd observe that. That would be more representative of what Darcy actually does.
As we're sitting here, there's going to be guys just kind of passing around. It's an opportunity for you to practice conversation.
Okay.
And asking a question and listening.
I mean, it's so different than real life. I just imagine myself, I'm walking down the sidewalk and Darcy comes up to me, and first of all, I'd be like, oh my God, it's Darcy. But if I didn't know who it was, I'd be like, why is this person talking to me? Are they trying to sell me something? What's going on right now? It's not a real situation, so you wouldn't get any data. Now, if the matchmaker has some other reason as to why she wants to have Darcy become habituated or normalized to the situation where she is overcoming some sort of fear, or I don't know. But this is, again, speed dating would be much more in line with, I think, what she's trying to gather data around. So I don't know why they're doing it this way. And surely the show could have found a speed dating. Does that happen still? Or at least online dating, just like and then the matchmaker comes along. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out some other way to do this other than to subject a bunch of strangers to unwanted random conversation from Darcy.
And being able to give just that ping pong. That's all.
Okay. I don't really go cruise in the park for guys. I'm a little bit more high class than that, but Michelle knows what she's doing, and I can only try it and see if it works.
So she's more high class than that. I've been talking about classism with this season a little bit, so I won't repeat all that. But another element of this that I didn't comment on was the matchmaker or Darcy, one of them, or both of them, were saying that the match she's going to, Darcy said she's going to this matchmaker because this matchmaker matches up high class people. She didn't use that phrase, but successful celebrities. I think she literally said, "I'm going to this matchmaker because she is a lot of celebrities use her, and a lot of successful, meaning rich people, high class people." It's just such a weird lens to look through the world. I mean, if you're really trying to be happy and trying to find true love, trying to find attachment, seeing everything through class, I would not recommend that.
Doesn't hurt. Come on, guys. Where are ya?
All right. Oh, we have a gentleman shirtless.
No.
No.
Not my
No
type.
ab.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Smile. Just practice smiling.
Yeah. I feel
So they just body shame someone. That's a good look. These two women just body shamed some guy because he didn't have abs. Yikes. Yikes.
like awkward. I don't know. It's a little weird going up to random strangers at a park.
Hey! Hi there.
I like your shirt.
I like it.
Oh, you do? It's not really the type of place where I feel overly flirty.
Yeah, I don't think anyone does. I don't think anyone wants this to happen, except for the matchmaker and the producers.
You know, I'm more like, the restaurant flirter, or hey, even on social media, I slide in some DMs. I love your energy. Keep inspiring. Wink.
Wait, really?
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, that was, I think we knew that already. The producer seemed to be shocked by that. I think I'm pretty sure that's how she met Tom, and I'm pretty sure that's how she met Georgie, and maybe Jesse as well, was through DMing on Instagram. And that's how a lot of people meet. That's how a lot of people meet on this show, right? I remember, wasn't it Eve and Muhammad met through that method? It's fine. On the show, the success rate isn't very high doing it that way, but I'm sure there are plenty of success stories in there.
Nice glasses.
Oh, he probably can't hear you. He's got his headset in.
Or he's ignoring the F out of you because he's on his jog and he's not interested in random cat calls about his glasses. I mean, honestly, that's what I would do. If I were that jogger and running and someone said that to me, I'd be like, ignore, ignore, ignore.
You're the gentleman with the yoga pose. What do you think?
He's fit.
He's fit.
He
Okay.
looks like he's focused. He looks like a sex.
I call shenanigans. This fella is probably a plant. I mean, if this conversation even goes remotely well, I'm going to figure that this is a plant by the show. Maybe Darcy doesn't know it's a plant, but it reeks of plant.
A sexual pose. Doggy style. Hi. Oh.
We were admiring your yoga poses.
Thank you.
Ask a question.
Glasses.
Yeah, golly. I mean, your reality TV show, you can't come up with scenarios that at least look real. Darcy is a real human being with real issues and real needs and real foibles. There are real situations that you could even engineer from a producer standpoint that would be entertaining, that would exhibit the magic of life, the complexity of life.
Question?
You ask a question.
Yeah. What's your name?
My name is Robert.
Robert, nice to meet you. I'm Darcy.
Nice to meet you, Darcy.
Pleasure. You have nice eyes.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
I was admiring your
Thank you.
your yoga.
Yes.
Takes a lot.
Or the dude is wanting to promote his yoga business, and so he's like, ooh, cameras or something. So I don't know. I can't know that this is manufactured, but it certainly looks that way. Doesn't it? Does it not?
A lot of hard work and dedication and
It
stuff.
sure does.
You have a nice smile too.
Oh, well, bless you. Thank you so
Bless
much.
you as well.
Yes.
Yeah, nice meeting you.
Yes, likewise, Darcy.
Take care.
Yes, you too. Namaste.
Namaste.
May you have a blessed day.
You as well.
Yes.
Well, that was awkward, but I think it does illuminate, maybe for the matchmaker, how bad she is at conversation. I mean, I don't know if the show represents how she actually is in real life, but the conversations that she has in real life there's like just a few modes that she has, none of which involve asking questions and being genuinely interested, genuinely delighted and curious in learning about someone else and their experience. Tom even said that, actually, when there was that. In fact, it was the very first time I'd ever seen Darcy was 3 years ago. Darcy and Tom were in that cafe. They were breaking up, essentially, and Tom was explaining why he didn't want to be with Darcy, and he was saying, "You never ask me questions. You say you're really into me, and you keep saying that, but you never actually exhibit that you're interested in me. You don't want to know who I am or anything about me." So that's one of the reasons. And when I heard that, I was like, "Oh yeah, I could see that." I mean, given what we've seen. So maybe this illuminated to the matchmaker of just like, "Hey, Darcy, when you have a conversation, what do you want out of the conversation? What do you need? Are you interested in the experience of the other person, or are you just operating on the priorities of class and fairy tale?"
If I was to grade myself on my flirting skills, I'd give myself maybe a 5. I guess I'm screwed. Oh, he was nice. He had nice eyes. Nice blue eyes.
Everyone? Yeah. You did it. Okay, so
nice
tell me.
smile.
And by the way, you do not have to be good at flirting in order to have success in a romantic companionship relationship. I would venture to say most people are not very good at flirting and manage just fine. Just be yourself and be honest, I suppose. And I don't know. I'm trying to apply one piece of advice to every single human, but you could be terrible at flirting as long as, I don't know, just ask people, be interested. That's what I tell my therapists who are just starting out, is connect with how interested you are in the client, interested in their experience, interested in how they feel, interested in their story, and exhibit that. And you can do no wrong when you're in that mode, you could do some wrong, but you can do a lot of right when you do that. And because I'll have novice therapists come to me and they're just like, "I have my first session tomorrow. I'm terrified. What do I do?" And I was like that too. I'd be flipping through my therapy books trying to find some answers to what I'm supposed to do in the first session. And what I always tell them, and what a lot of mentors will tell their novice therapists, is listen, and exhibit that you are listening. Show to them that you're interested in what they say. So, it applies to dating as well and flirting. If you're just interested, if both people do that, then you have yourself a conversation. All right, well, that does it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.